Welcome to this video. Today we are talking about Geogebra. This is an amazing software that you can find for free and where our students can interact with three-dimensional surfaces or volumes, solids in general. So we're using that to study conic sections. We think that the best way to study conic section is creating them, because if students create an ellipse, circumference, or whatever conic section, they interiorize what they are doing and they will always be able to remember how they come. So in order to do that, we are using a cone and a plane to intersect each other and create those conic sections. So let's start by going to this option, plane through 3 points, and here the first option is the one we are interested in because we are going to draw a plane. So let's mark 3 points and Geogebra draws the plane for us. So now that we have the plane, we need a cone to intersect both objects. So here we have this option, pyramid, but if you go through this, you can see a pyramid, prisms, cones, cylinders, whatever you want to build. So let's build a cone. To build a cone, we need the center of the base. We are picking up the origin of coordinates. The vertices of the cone, let's put 6 units height, and then we are asked to introduce the radius, so let's put 5 units, for example. And here we have our cone. Let's rotate it to see it better. So now that we have a cone and a plane, we can start creating conic sections. And the first we're going to create is a circumference. So we know that we need a plane perpendicular to the axis of the cone. Here we have an option in planes, parallel plane, but we need a point where this plane goes through. So let's mark first of all a point. Here we have the option point. Let's mark this, for example, and then we can build a parallel plane that goes through this point and is parallel to the plane we created. Here we have. And to see better the intersection between both objects, here we have an option, intersect two surfaces. So we mark both surfaces and then we can see the circumference which is created by the intersection of the cone and the plane. Apart from that, we can study that circumference in 2 dimensions. So we go here, create a dimensional view, and you can see that here the circumference plane is flat, is in 2 dimensions, and we can work out the radius, the diameter, whatever we are interested in. So let's continue. Let's create parabolas and ellipses. I'm going to delete that plane and I'm going to, using the plane I created first, incline it. So let's, with this arrow, we can select an object and move it. Let's move it upwards and you can see what's going on here. If we study the intersection, we can see the parabola which is formed by the intersection, when in this case the plane is parallel or almost parallel to the generatrix of the cone, although it's not necessary to be like that. And if we were to create an ellipse, we have to move the other 2 points we created. Let's move them upwards, here this one and this one, and we'll see the ellipse which is formed now. So this is a good way to observe and to create conic sections and to study and analyze where are they created and how. The last one I'm going to create is the hyperbola, so I need to delete this point, and in order to create a hyperbola we have here an option in the plane section called perpendicular plane. So you can create a plane perpendicular to a straight line that goes through a point. So again, we need a point. Let's mark this point over the cone. And now I'm going to create a perpendicular plane that goes through this point and is perpendicular to this axis, the red axis in this case. And here we have the last conic section we had left, which is the hyperbola. So you can see that it's not difficult to create conic sections using GeoGebra, and it's a very interactive way to do it. So if you know how to make those conic sections, if our students know that, they will be able to remember how they are created, and then we can move forward to study some properties of each one. So to understand the concept, I think this is a very good tool and I'll definitely use it in class.